The Latino voters for Trump are learning where their and their family members' new home may be, as the Texas Land Commissioner sent a letter to Donald Trump offering to make about 1,402 acres in the Texas region a mass deportation concentration camp where the bloody deportations will be taking place. Donald Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, will be visiting Texas and sussing it out for where the locations for the bloody mass deportations are going to be. Let me just read for you the letter. So for all of the Latino voters for Trump saying, oh, this isn't happening to us, it is, and it's starting very soon. And again, I don't take pride in reporting this. Even if you voted for Trump, we're going to be fighting for you. We're not going to just throw our hands up, because I believe all human beings are entitled to dignity. But let me just share with you what you voted for. Yeah. And we're talking about your abuelita. We're talking about your tío and tía. We're talking about your family members. There's no exception for good families or family values. No, they're coming for you and your families. Here's the letter from the Texas Land Commissioner. Here's what she has to say. She goes, Dear President Trump, the subject line is Texas offering 1,400 acres of land adjacent to Texas-Mexico border for construction of deportation facilities. I'm writing to formally offer 1,402 acres of land in Starr County, Texas, to be used to construct deportation facilities. The Texas General Land Office currently owns a 1,402-acre tract, roughly 35 miles west of McAllen, Texas. My office is fully prepared to enter into an agreement with the Department of Homeland Security, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or the United States Border Patrol to allow a facility to be built for the processing, detention, and coordination of the largest deportation of violent criminals in the nation's history. But to be very clear, when they're talking about 20 or 30 million, they're not talking about the violent ones, okay? Obviously, the violent criminals need to be locked up, deported. The full amount of justice needs to be handed down on violent people. But they're talking about workplace raids. That's what they're talking about. It goes on to say, as Texas Land Commissioner, I recently acquired the 1,402-acre ranch along the border near Rio Grande City. In less than 24 hours after the purchase, on October 23, 2024, I granted a 7,681-foot-long easement across the property, allowing our Texas border wall to be built. The previous owner had refused to allow the wall to be built and actively blocked law enforcement from accessing the property. Her actions enabled cartel members and violent criminals to sexually abuse migrant women and children on this land for some time. Let me just ask you, if that was really your concern, then why are you all supporting Matt Gaetz and Pete Hegseth and RFK Jr.? No, this is your pretext for concentration camps on the border. Goes on to say, at my direction, since serving as the head of this agency, the GLO has won several significant victories in the fight to repel cartel activities along our border. Everybody wants to fight to repel cartels. No one is pro-cartels, okay? Goes on to say, early last year, my office was able to survey several islands in the Rio Grande River and declare them part of the state of Texas, permitting law enforcement to end all human trafficking and drug smuggling operations on them. Let me ask you this. Then why did the Republicans vote against the bipartisan border deal that would put way more resources on the border, step up law enforcement, increase people's salaries? Because all of this is absolutely performative. This is Tom Homan from this weekend. Here he is on the Mark Levin show, and here he is saying that if you're a governor who refuses to cooperate with the bloody mass deportations, we're going to block federal funds to your state. Play this clip.
And you know, Tom Homan, you got a very, very powerful weapon that the Democrats, when they're in power, use against Republican administrations, state and local, all the time. Federal funding. If you have a governor who says, I'm not going to cooperate, and I'm going to block you, well then, federal funds should be slashed to that state, and I mean hugely so the people of that state understand that the governor is the responsible party, that the mayor's the responsible party. They can beat their chest to being sanctuary cities all they want. They're part of the United States, whether they like it or not. This is a federal issue. Even the governor of Texas, he's the one trying to enforce federal law against the Biden administration. That won't. But these states, much like the Confederacy, they want to go on their own. They want to do their own thing. To me, you've got a powerful weapon, among others, which is, okay, no federal funds. Boom. Last thoughts.
And that's going to happen. I guarantee you, President Trump will do that.
So that's what Tom Homan is saying. Let me share with you this, though. Here's what Denver Mayor Mike Johnston says, that he's willing to protest and go to jail to prevent the deportation of migrants from his city. Here, play this clip.
About civil disobedience, you've mentioned that a couple of times now. Would you be willing to participate in those as the mayor of Denver? Would you be willing to go out and protest these things?
I would. If I believe that our residents are having their rights violated, if I think things are happening that are illegal or immoral or un-American in our city, I would certainly protest it, and I would expect other residents would do the same.
Trump's new borders czar, Tom Homan, has said that he is willing to arrest leaders like yourself for standing in the way of these policies that they want to enact. Would you be willing to go to jail for these things?
Yeah, I'm not afraid of that. And I'm also not seeking that. I think the goal is we want to be able to negotiate with reasonable people how to solve hard problems. Republican and Democratic presidents in the past have all tried to find solutions to these problems. President Reagan helped people get access to work so they could stay and support themselves. Biden and Harris worked on restricting entry at the border to close down. There are a lot of ways to approach this problem. We don't think it has to come to this. But yeah, I think when you look at, Ralph Carr has always been one of my heroes. He was the governor who in the middle of the internment of Japanese Americans said this was the wrong thing to do. And he stood up. It was unpopular. People were mad at him about it. That was in the middle of wartime. If the president or any of his actors are going to do things that we think are illegal or immoral or un-American, we'll stand up against those.
There's an article on that as well from The Guardian. Denver mayor says he will urge protests against Trump's mass deportations. Mayor Mike Johnston calls this his or our Tiananmen Square moment. But that's what's going to happen. I mean, you're going to now have Donald Trump turn the United States military against Americans and against migrants, ripping and tearing families apart. And then you're going to throw people into camps in the United States of America. People, we're not talking about the criminals. Deport the criminals, arrest the criminals. So stipulated. But you're going to do mass deportations. And if you're going, Ben, but I read the letter just says violent criminals. Let me show you what Tom Homan said at CPAC, just so you can see for yourself. He says, I don't give a shit about family separation. Listen to him. This is what he says. This is the guy we're dealing with. Here, play this clip.
Lifetime, and I'm sick and tired of hearing about the family separation. And I'm still being sued over that, so come get me. I don't give a shit, right? Bottom line is, we enforce the law. American families, when I was a cop in New York and I arrest a father for domestic violence or someone for DUI, I separate that family. When you violate the law with a child, you're going to be separated. But you're right. 250,000 children have crossed this border since Joe Biden's been president. They chose to separate themselves. And the children aren't always children.
This AI image, though, made me, I guess, chuckle. Thank God that we'll have to work the fields after the mass deportation, and it's a bunch of, or we'll have people to work the fields, the people in the MAGA hats. They ain't working. And as George Takei says, there's so many stories right now about how mass deportation will spike food prices and cause inflation. Take a look right here. Donald Trump's migrant plan will drive up grocery prices, will cause more inflation. You see it all there. And you add that to the fact that mortgage rates are up, egg prices are going up, Walmart, all these stores and suppliers raising their prices as well in response to Trump tariffs. That's what's taking place. And I'll leave you with this. I think you get the point. When Rand Paul makes a little bit of sense, you know what's going on. So here's MAGA Republican Rand Paul. Even he says, I can't support with Homan and Trump are going to throw the military against Americans. What, we're going to have the military marching up the streets and going into homes and knocking on doors. Even Rand Paul's like, nah. But that's what Trump's going to do. That's what Homan's going to do. And that mass deportation facility, why do you think one of the reasons Homan's going to Texas? Because they're setting up camps. They're setting up concentration camps in the United States of America. You okay with that? I'm not okay with that. So we're going to use our voice and our power here, but that's what you voted for. Not you, but if you voted for Trump, that's what you did. Here's Rand Paul. Let's play it.
If they send the army into New York and you have 10,000 troops marching, carrying semi-automatic weapons, I think it's a terrible image and I will oppose that. But it's not that I oppose removing people. I just object to what has been against the law for over 100 years, and that's using the army.
But deputizing the National Guard, that specifically is the proposal. You also oppose that.
I don't think it's the best way to do it. It's less clear whether that's legal or illegal. Typically, it has to be done at the behest of the governors. I still don't like a militarization of police, whether it's National Guard or Army. I think there's a lot of FBI. Okay. There's a lot of Border Patrol agents. There's a better way to do it, and it needs to be individualized. That doesn't mean I'm any less serious about getting it done. It just needs to be done according to the law and consistent with our traditions.
Well, there you have it, folks. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 4 million subscribers together. Thanks for watching.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.